Haruki Murakami's Killing Commendatore. This book review is going to answer the question of whether or not this book is worth your money and your time, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. Anyways, Haruki Murakami, nuts. It's hard to act on camera. You know, David Foster Wallace, he's a different author, but he said that trying to act natural is the most ridiculous thing in existence. It's absolutely impossible to act natural. And I'm a writer, and I love Murakami, and I'm going to talk about Murakami in just a second here. But there's something paradoxical about making a YouTube video like this and then trying to be authentic in a video where I have to modify my behavior so that you will understand what's in the video. I have to start the video by telling you what's in the video. And not only that, I can't communicate the way I would, because if I do, you'll click off the video instantly. So I have to not only give a summary of what I'm about to say to you, which is something I would never do in real life if I was talking to you. Not only do I have to give you a summary, but I also have to give you a summary in the way that everybody else gives you a summary so that you understand what I'm saying and you don't click off the video. So there's just this insane self-consciousness that has been born now that we live in a televised reality where everybody is on a camera. Everybody's the star of their own TV show. Okay, that's just a rant. But it's very much related to Murakami and his work. If you read Murakami and his work, you're going to encounter a lot of ideas that appear very strange. But the strangeness of Murakami's ideas are very much related to the way that you see the world, you know? And I think the reason why Murakami's work speaks to us and speaks to so many people, and he's very popular. If you're watching this video, you've probably heard of his stuff. But the reason he's so popular, I think, is because he's speaking very much to how artificial our reality has become. But this is not new. An artificial reality is not new. It's just more artificial than it's ever been. And maybe that's new. But anyways, Killing Commendatore. This book is about an artist in his 30s when his wife leaves him. So Murakami does this thing where all of his books have very similar themes. They have very similar symbols, very similar things are happening, and yet all of his books are completely individual. I would never say that any of his books are in any way related to each other. They're not in sequence. They are all completely contained within the front and back of the book. This book is itself. It's not anything else, obviously. But The Killing Commendatore is about a 30-something artist who loses his wife. And all of his characters are going to have some type of identity crisis related, a lot of them, to losing their loved one, their wife. Now, this identity crisis that he has, it gets him thinking about his art. And he had spent a really long time supporting his wife and himself by painting these portraits of people who would pay him to paint their portrait. And he would pay them to paint their portrait, but they didn't want art. They didn't want his vision. What they wanted was an image of themselves, and that's what they got. He would work with them, and he would make an image of them for them, and then he would get paid. And he'd get paid pretty well, and everything was all good. But we learned that he's a very talented artist, but he's not really using his talent. And the reason he's not using his talent is because he's using his technical abilities for money and for other people. He's using his abilities to create images of other people in the way that they see themselves. And so he's not really making anything. And he moves into a house and he finds a wrapped up painting. And this launches him onto a creative journey, effectively, where he rediscovers what it means to be an artist. And he explores these really interesting themes about what it means to be human. And I think all of Murakami's novels, if they have one connection, if they have one generality, I would say, they're all about how to be human. And David Foster Wallace, another great author, would say that's what all fiction is. It's what it means to be human. You read a book, that's what it's about. But what's really interesting is that this book is very much about this idea of image and this idea of what the artist is doing. Because the artist is not producing an image. That's not what the artist is doing. The artist is seeing the world and showing you the world. This book is a really good explanation of a very deep idea that I'm not sure if it has any official philosophical name, but I've encountered it in this book. I also encountered it in the Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. But it's this idea that I'm not going to tell the story from the Book of the New Sun. I think I'll review the book and talk about it there. But it's this idea that, like our phones, for example, our phones, or I have my laptop next to me, just to give you a visual. This laptop here. So this laptop, it has the black screen, as we all know, and then here's the screensaver. Okay. Now, as we're using these things, as I use my laptop, and I pull up a video or an image, when I look at that video and that image, I'm not looking at what the image is depicting. I'm looking at the image. And I'm not even really looking at the image. I'm looking at my laptop. There's, I'm not going to get all dystopian and sit back and say, isn't this a profound idea? It is a profound idea, but you've probably thought about it before. The fact that when you're looking at your phone, when you're watching me right now on this screen, you're looking at a screen. You're not looking at me. I'm not in front of you. You're looking at an image of me. And that image of me is not even really an image of me. It's an image of my physical appearance. And so, if I had to describe it, I'd say it's the difference between essence and particular. Essence is what the true nature of a being. We might call it a soul. So your soul. And then there's the particulars, which are the parts of the unity. So, the clothes I'm wearing, even my body, how I look, my haircut right now. These are all particulars. The glasses I'm wearing, these are all particulars of my unity. But they aren't me. They are not me. Now, that may or may not sound too profound for you, but it is a really deep idea. The more you think about it, the more you'll see how profound it is, because people make the mistake of believing that particulars are the essence and the essence is the particular. We switch them around and swap them around when we shouldn't. And really, if you go and watch a movie, you're not sitting there the whole time reminding yourself that you're just watching light on a screen. You want to let yourself into the essence of the thing being depicted. So, anyways, that's what this book is really talking about. And you really get a deep exploration of this idea of essence versus particular, of being versus appearance. And Murakami really explores that central idea in this novel of his. I don't think I can do basic book reviews. I've tried to do YouTube many times. Many times. I might upload this video, I might not. And you might see more of me and you might not. But the only way I can do this is by being some level of genuine and authentic. But that's just not entertaining, and it's hard to communicate that way with how short our attention spans are. So I think maybe being really authentic and being an artist is about screaming like that into the void, let's say, about not changing who you are for the sake of attention. And not because what most people say, which is, oh, you'll get attention anyways. You'll get attention anyways. Or you won't get attention anyways, right? No, that's not why. We should be absolutely authentic, because if we're not absolutely authentic, then we're not being, we're not alive. And so, I think trying to reconcile the authenticity of our being versus the constraints that this world puts on us, it's a deep spiritual question. And that's at the center of Killing Commendatore. So, and the reason I started that tangent is because you should read this book. I mean, it's a great book. But it's like everybody has taste, and you're probably watching this video to figure out if you should read this book or not listen to me ramble. But this is the only way I can do it. So anyways, yeah, you should totally read this book. It's super fantastic and great and awesome. Now, if you're new to Murakami, he does this cool thing where he uses very basic language, and he uses a high volume of basic language, I would say. So not much happens, so to speak, in his novels, but that's because he's using simple words and having his characters go through actions so that you'll see the larger patterns that are up and above those actions. So enjoy the ride, basically, is what I'm saying. This book is definitely an experience, right? You're not going to get too much abstract thought. His prose is very action-oriented. He's very focused on what's happening and sort of explaining those things. But this is, so it's a very thought-provoking, philosophical book. I think that this is really important in our day and age, in our time period, as cliche as that is to say. And I think that it'll give you tremendous insight if you read this book. I think it'll give you really, really good insights onto what it means to be authentic in a world of images. If I had to put it down like that, what it means to be authentic in a world of images, which our reality has sort of exploded into. This gigantic hall of mirrors, unfolding accordion of infinite and endless images where everybody is incorporating themselves, turning themselves into a brand and a business, and sort of devouring themselves, selling their souls, so to speak, exchanging their most authentic moments for currency. And that reminds me, there's a quote I highlighted in here, which you will probably like. Okay, so the character in the book, he ends up in a relationship with this guy who wants him to paint him, but he wants him to paint him however the main character wants to do it. This guy's very much interested in this artist's ability to see past appearances and capture his essence in a painting. And so he's talking to him, and he says, "We need to combine our intuition. Allow it to pass through your ability to express things in concrete form and my ability to quantify them." And so, it's that idea where everyone is quantifying themselves. Everyone's turning something, their essence, into particulars. They're exchanging their essence into particularity. They're commercializing themselves. They're selling their privacy the hidden aspect of human life, the parts that people don't see, are being commodified and quantified, and in that sense completely erased, because people can't be genuine. Right now, the way that I've done this book review, it's ridiculous. You would be insane to be still watching this right now. And all the pauses I've taken. And so if you're struggling with this world right now, the way it is, I think this book would be great for you. I think that this book, I think this is a great book. You should get the book. It's really cool. It's really good. It's super awesome. I love Murakami. I'm a writer, and when I encountered Murakami, he completely changed the way that I view writing. I think he's a total genius. I think people who are focused on the content of his book completely miss the point. So I'll say that. There's a lot of haters on Murakami. Any great author is going to have a tremendous amount of haters. It's just the way it is. And Murakami has those haters, but they're transgressing against themselves, I guess. Not that he's beyond reproach or that whatever, but it's like in Kafka on the Shore, he has some like anti-woke stuff, so maybe that's why they hate him. And it's probably the most literal and blatant scene in any of Murakami's stuff in Kafka on the Shore, which is hilarious to me, and maybe that's why they hate him. But anyways, they're focusing on the particulars. They're focusing on the content of what's going on in his novel. To do that is to completely miss the point. I think Murakami would say, don't pay attention to the content, pay attention to the manner in which the content has been organized and the sequence in which the events are being told, because that's how his prose works. His prose is very basic to get you to see and to pay attention to not the words, but what the words are revealing. Because the words are revealing something that's real. They're revealing an essence. And that is what Murakami's all about. He's all about putting you in contact with essence, with soul. And so I would say that's the best reason why you should read Killing Commendatore, is because of everything I just said. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the bottom of the video. It's my affiliate link for Amazon. So if you end up buying this book and you want to give me a little bit of money, then you can click on my link and it'll do that for you. It'll do that for me. It'll give me a little bit of money. I don't know, however much. So yeah. And I refuse to remind, and I'm not even going to remind you, I'm not going to do any cliche YouTube stuff. Thanks for watching. And whoever you are on the other end of the screen, who's not actually watching me, but you're watching my image, I love you. Turn to Jesus Christ, repent from your sins, and be saved. He's the only way to salvation. Love you guys.